Okay, what a case study we have today. This is coming from one of the listeners. His question is basically he's asking, Kuya, what if I've got a friend and my friend owes me some money and the amount's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He has never paid me, but I see on his Facebook that he spends a lot on other stuff. So he's not paying me back, but he's spending a lot. So he's got the ability to pay me back. The other issue is that he's also very passive-aggressive, always making parinig. Parinig is when you say something in the presence of other people to kind of do a kind of shots fired, but in a passive-aggressive way. So basically his friend in the group is passive-aggressive, makes parinig, owes him some money, and is just in general very rude. But it seems like he doesn't show any gratitude or he doesn't even care. The question is, what should he do? Or what's the listener supposed to do? Is there anything he can do to kind of fix things or change things? Well, and he also asks if he can just leave the barkada or push the guy out. And lastly, one of the qualifiers is the guy has done this to other people, other friends in his group. And they've talked about it already, but they never really addressed the issue to the guy, because they kind of feel sad for the guy, because the guy has a really, really painful family situation and, childhood growing up. This guy didn't really have a mother, so like a single dad raised him, and, the mother was never there, and the father was never really a good example, and so he just learned all these bad things from his father during his childhood. So what are they supposed to do? Well, I guess the title says it all. I would first say, stop enabling before unfriending. Many times we care about our friends, and because we care about our friends, we tend to sympathize. And there's a very fine line between sympathizing and understanding that maybe they have a very, very painful childhood, a very difficult family situation, or they went through some traumas in life, or whatever that is. And we can sympathize, that's true. But we're not supposed to enable or justify bad habits and behavior. We cannot just say, well, he's toxic because he comes from trauma. Your past traumas and your past toxic situations does not justify you being toxic to other people. If you were traumatized in the past, doesn't mean you can traumatize other people, right? So never justify or make excuses for bad behavior. And this applies to everyone, not just your friends. It can be your family, it can be your relatives, it can be, church leaders, it can be bishops, it can be popes, it can be presidents, politicians, doesn't matter. There's a threshold. This reminds me of a coffee shop in Karkar, actually. I just went to Karkar because of a business thing. And there was a coffee shop there, and their coffee was very, very good. Okay, the coffee was good. But the price kept going up. In a span of 2 months, it went from 120 pesos to 170 pesos. And that's just your Americano. So an Americano for 170 pesos, that's not justifiable anymore. So I said to myself, if this hits 170, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not coming back here anymore, no matter how good the coffee is. So what am I saying? There are some good traits in your friends, I'm sure. So if those good traits are good, appreciate them. But there's a threshold. When the bad traits outweigh the good traits, you have to really call them out. And when you call them out, you'll find out if they really want to change and they want to be true friends, they want to man up, or if they're just a man-child, an entitled, spoiled brat. Because many times, people who are victimized in the past use that victimhood to become spoiled, to become entitled, to believe for themselves that they deserve extra grace, extra patience, extra sympathy. And they abuse that. They have a tendency to become very entitled, very spoiled. And they just become man-childs. So be very careful. So my suggestion, first and foremost, is talk to the person. Address the bad behavior, the passive aggressiveness, the debt that he should pay, especially when you see him going out on Facebook and his social media is full of, living the life. Address those issues, the rudeness, passive aggressiveness. If he wants to change, great. you know, tell him, you know, you're willing to be his accountability partner. Tell him that, you know, you're willing to call him out, to remind him in a loving way that what he's doing isn't really right. That way he would grow. If he doesn't change, since your barkada talked about it already but never talked to him, I would suggest you have a kind of intervention, right? So you have your barkada sit down with the guy and talk to the guy, you know, as your group of friends, as your barkada, we're very concerned. We love you. We want the best for you, and we see that you're doing all these really weird things, and we don't want other people to get mad at you. If you're doing this to us, you might do this to someone else later on, and we don't appreciate it. If he doesn't change, well, you've got a choice. You can either leave the group or have the group leave him. It's one of the two. For me, personally, I would rather that he leaves the group compared to you, because he did nothing wrong. You know, why get punished for being innocent? So that's my thing. I would always say, you know, stop enabling before unfriending. You gotta call out what you gotta call out. You gotta expose what needs to be exposed. Because in the end of the day, for me especially, this is a personal thing. I don't waste my time on people who are not repentant, okay? Who are not repentant, or who doesn't have any interest in changing. And lastly, be careful. Don't be deceived. A lot of people will just say they're sorry but won't change. Okay, so real change, real repentance, you'll see it with actions. There's gonna be restitution. If he borrowed, let's say, $1,000, he has to repay the $1,000. If he was passive aggressive in public, he has to apologize in public. If he attacked you in a very sly way, in a passive aggressive way publicly, then he needs to, you know, apologize in front of the people also who he did it in front of, so they know that he's sorry. So yeah, things like that. You gotta watch out for real repentance, real change, which is evidenced by actions, okay? Not just words, not just, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, but he's never paid you back. Regarding the money, you might have to consider the possibility that it's never coming back to you ever again. I'm sorry, but sometimes people are just like that. So yeah, I hope this helped you, bro, and I hope you and your friends get to iron this out. God bless you, bro.